Welcome back to the Newport Gulls pregame show. This is the Broadcasters Roundtable, and as always, I'm joined by the publicist for the Newport Gulls, Matt Tonis, and the voice of the Sanford Mariners, Corey Naito. And Corey, we'll start with you. The All-Star game on Sunday. What a great opportunity for the Mariners. Everything went well up until about midway through the Southern Division BP, but good old park, everybody up in Sanford, they just put a great effort to try to get baseball played on Sunday.
Absolutely, they did their best efforts, as you mentioned. 2 rain delays, 1 tarp pull. They mended the field, and unfortunately Mother Nature just did not have it in the cards. And you mentioned the organization for Sanford really did an outstanding job. It was all about the players, and I think that's what they got out of it. The scouts got to see the players take batting practice, infield, outfield, and then the pitchers were able to throw bullpens in front of the scouts, and I think that was the most important thing.
Now, did you see the pitchers debut for the scouts and throw their bullpen sessions for them? Was there a lot of positive reactions for those guys that actually got a chance to throw, well, not the live batting, but got to throw at least something for these scouts?
It seemed that it was a positive review. I did not get a chance to get down there, but from what I've read and from what I've seen, a lot of scouts stuck around, watched the pitchers that they were interested in, and I think it gave the Arms a great opportunity.
Now, Matt, we talk about bad weather. Yesterday, bad weather for all of about 25 minutes in Danbury, Connecticut. Enough lightning to cancel out the game. A tough ride for this Newport Gulls team that now has to play 2 doubleheaders next week, one against Danbury in Danbury, and a split location doubleheader against Ocean State. 1 game here in the early afternoon, a 7-inning affair, and then another 7 innings down in Wakefield, Rhode Island.
Yeah, an unhappy flock heading back from Rogers Park last night. 3.5 hours on a bus just to get there, play 2 pitches, argue a little bit, turn around and head back to Newport, but not before a stop for some dinner. Overall, it's going to be tough for Newport for the end of this season, playing through two doubleheaders, which 1 doubleheader is enough, especially in a league like this where you're playing every day and you're traveling every day. When you have to play 2 that both include road trips on a bus, it's not going to be great for the durability or stamina of these guys moving towards the end of the season.
Now, talking about durability and stamina, it looks like the bats finally woke up when it comes to the Newport Gulls offense. 14 runs, nearly 30 hits combined the other night against the Plymouth Pilgrims. Offensively, the game was perfect almost for this Newport Gulls squad.
Yeah, the hits just kept on coming, especially in that 7th or towards those late innings when they scored 6 runs in 1 inning and 7 in another, and were just able to barrage the Pilgrims with hits, and they were able, especially the one thing that impressed me was the resiliency of the Gulls offense when Plymouth came all the way back, tied the game up at 7, and right away the Gulls came back out, had an inning that had, I believe, were 10 straight hits in the inning, and just put the Pilgrims away within 3 outs. And that was something that really impressed me with this Gulls squad. It showed that they have the toughness, they have the mental fortitude to win anything, to win as much as they desire this season.
Now, Corey, the Sanford Mariners come in. They're playing a typical baseball schedule: win 2, lose 1, win 2, lose 1, basically the way it's going in Sanford. The Mariners looking at the number 2 spot right now overall, and then once they achieve it, try to overtake the Vermont Mountaineers right now, but a logjam in the Northern Division as far as the standings go.
Absolutely. Sanford Mariners, they lost last night to Laconia 3-2, identical score the game before the All-Star break where it was a 3-2 win for the Muskrats in 14 innings. The Mariners offense, you mentioned about the Newport's bats heating up. The Moose, they're heating up, but they're not getting that clutch hit. In the last 2 games, they've only scored 4 runs but have had 24 hits, and they're going to try and turn that tide around here at Cardines Field.
Now, the pitching staff is having its own bit of problems. They're not giving up a lot of runs, but a lot of hits being given up by Sanford Mariners pitching. Is that something that the coaching staff, especially the pitching coach, is really worrying about right now for Sanford going into the final stretch?
I don't think they're worrying about it. I think they're happy about where their starters are. David Rosenberger scattered 7 hits last night, only gave up 2 earned runs of the 3. Ben Greenberg on the mound tonight against Newport, and he stranded 4 base runners at third base at Goodall Park last time these 2 teams met. I think they're happy where the starting rotation is. Obviously the hits could be a concern, but as long as it's not allowing runs to come in, I think they'll deal with it.
Now, Matt, Michael Mertz is going for the Newport Gulls here tonight. We are not expecting a repeat performance as we saw in New Bedford about a week ago, where Mertz had 13 strikeouts, scattered 2 hits over 8 innings pitched. But Michael Mertz is working his way, if he is not the official ace, working his way to that title of being the ace of this staff.
He's been phenomenal this season. He's really, though his strength is being able to spot pitches wherever he wants. He had one outing where he was a little bit wild, but there was an inconsistent strike zone, not to take away from the, not to excuse the wildness, but even in that game, he was still able to make his pitches, make spots, get outs, and that's really what you need, especially in this league. Once you get on a roll, it's really hard to stop from an offensive perspective when you go up against a pitcher like Mertz, who can spot all of his pitches wherever he wants all the time.
Now, for the Newport Gulls coming off of that 14-7 win, you could look at it and say that that was a game where hits were just the big story. As an offensive juggernaut, it's not a game that the bullpen should really be focusing on as far as something, a lot of runs given up, not something that they really should be seeing as a negative, as offensively, that's just a game that sometimes happens here.
Right. I mean, 4 of the runs were scored on 2 swings of the bat. So other than that, Newport was able to keep the damage relatively low while scoring a lot of runs, which is something that a lot of teams don't really focus on. A lot of teams say, well, we've got 14 runs. We can let up 13 and still win this game. But Newport prides itself on being able to put teams away and not let teams back into games, especially late in the game if they have at least a little bit of a sizable lead. So being able to just shut down the Pilgrims for those final few innings is huge. Is huge going forward, saying, all right, we had a lead and we were able to sustain that big lead and not build on it. But the pitching, as long as they're able to say, all right, well, we can keep teams off the scoreboard when it's a blowout. We can also do it when it's a tight game.
Now, Corey, one of the best games played by either side this season was actually up in Sanford, a 1-0 ball game. These two teams played each other very hard. This year, they played each other very hard last year. What are you expecting from the Mainers coming into Cardines tonight, facing the team with the best record overall in the NECBL, but a game that's a must-win for both Newport and Sanford?
I think the Mainers come in with a little chip on their shoulder. As I mentioned, the 1-0 win earlier in June was the first time the Mainers have beat Newport in over 2 years, so I think they're not afraid of the Newport Gulls, even though they're on their home turf here at Cardines Field. A must-win situation for both teams. I think the Mainers are loose. I think Ben Greenberg's going to come out, have a nice day. Offense comes around him. I think we're going to be in store for a great ball game.
Matt, keys to the game for the Gulls to get a win here tonight at Cardines?
Pitching. Obviously you had a great pitching performance in that last game you played Sanford, but wasn't enough. You let up that 1 run. The offense really couldn't get going. If the pitching can continue to improve as the season has gone along, which they have, and the offense can put together a couple runs early, this game should be close to in the bag for Newport, especially the way the back end of their bullpen has pitched all season and of late. If you can build 2-3 run lead in the first third of this game, you should be looking at a good one.
It's interleague play here at Cardines Field as the Sanford Mainers take on the Newport Gulls. This could very well be a barn burner between these two very hot teams in the NECBL. Corey and I will have the call for you at 6:35 on the NECBL Broadcast Network. You'll see Matt Tonis on the postgame show. And for the pregame show here in Newport, Rhode Island, it continues next on the NECBL Broadcast Network.